surrounded by wrestling fans. Not sports entertainment fans. Professional wrestling fans! Professional wrestling! This is it! This is us standing up! This is
the Wrestling Matters Podcast, a podcast that stands up for professional wrestling. Why? Because wrestling matters. So join the revolution, because the revolution is now. Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Anthony Walker, as you well know that by now, and welcome to a new episode of the Wrestling Matters Podcast. That's right, hope you had a good week. I've had a quite busy week this week, been working on my projects, been working on the Wrestling Matters channel, I've been working on the Games Matter channel too. Make sure you check that out, more on that. You know what, I'll promote that a little bit later on for you to check out as well. And yeah, it's been a very quiet week for me, relaxing, preparing, and as this went out, we have won the cup. We were in the playoffs advantage over Brentford, and I'm very pleased with that. That's a football matter. But today we're going to talk Raw, SmackDown, TNA, Impact Wrestling, WWE NXT, Ring of Honor, and as well as other things relevant and a few promotions, and also to let you know who's on the show next week. I have some guests next week, so I'll promote them and make sure you check them out as well. More on that later. But I want to start off this show with ICW. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, Head, no, you do an ICW show. Okay, correct, I do. I do an ICW podcast, and you can see that every Tuesday. The new episode is out tomorrow. Episode 4 will be out tomorrow, and it will be Blowing Your Cartridge from Newcastle, the night before Barrowmania. Now, but I want to talk about a new thing that they've put on the on-demand service, and I want to review it, called Total Recall. Now, the idea of this is Billy Kirkwood sits down with two guys, or two of the wrestlers in ICW, or wrestlers, or wrestler, or female wrestlers, whatever, and talks and relives some of the matches that took place. Or in this case, the very first episode, it was the match that was never booked. It just happened at the spare of the moment, and happened back when ICW was on a network before they got kicked off. It was called Total Recall. It was the Glasgow Street Fight, which involved two members who Billy Kirkwood talked to, two members of the now new age clique called Wolfgang, and the leader himself, Mr. Chris Renfrew. Now, they sit down, they talk about it, they talk about how it all went down, how it all began, how it all got together, and how the idea came up. It was through a ring breakage, and they were looking to kill time and that, and they didn't want to disappoint the fans, which is what ICW is all about at times. They don't want to disappoint the fans, and sometimes they don't. Let me rephrase that. They never do. So they just sit there and talk about it, and you see the footage and everything. They sit down and go through the footage. It's kind of like them watching it, and they're sitting there going, discussing over it. Like if you watch, say, a movie and they talk over it, like a commentary over it and everything. Like say with the Jackass crew, they do like a audio commentary over it and just talk about it and talk about how the things went down and all that. That's kind of like what that was about. Billy Kirkwood, Wolfgang, and Chris Renfrew going over the match itself. It wasn't necessarily a match because it was never booked. It just happened at the spare of the moment. Glasgow Street Fight. Basically, they fought all around the streets. They didn't fight in the ring. They fought on the streets. They fought in a toilet. Apparently, Wolfgang got his head flushed down the toilet. Literally. And at one point, they even fight next door at where they were, which was the old Apollo in Scotland. They even fight next door in the cinema, and the security guards were like, what the fuck? All will be revealed. This is just a brief plug for it. It's a good watch. I suggest you go and watch it. £3.75 a month on ICW On Demand, equivalent of $6 in America. If you haven't got it, guys, then you really are missing out. I can't plug this enough. ICW is the place to be. It really is. They've got a lot of good stuff coming up. between now and probably July, which will be Shug's Hoose Party 2, and there's a lot of great matches that have been set up for that as well, including Damo one-on-one with Drew Galloway for the world title. There's Wolfgang himself facing Rhino. Yes, Rhino's making an appearance. The one who stuck, the guy you see in NXT. He's coming in July. Excuse me. Yep, he's coming in July, so make sure you check that out. I'm pretty sure there'll be more matches to come as well. Also, a little quick plug as well. In a couple of weeks, I will be reviewing on the ICW show Flawless Victory. That's right. I've got a few other shows that I'm going to do as well. Alex the Kid, Paperboy, and the other show as well that's on there. There's a few others before that, but at some time I'm going to be reviewing the Flawless Victory show. Now, I'm going to give you a hint, a little something. New Age Clique have new members. That's right. Oh, yes. They have new members. It's Stevie Boy from the Bucky Boys, or should I say now, formerly from the Bucky Boys. And not only that, his real-life girlfriend and TNA Bootcamp star, Bootcamp 2, I believe it was, star Kaylee Ray. That's right. And I said to this, I'll say this right now, the New Age Clique are growing. They're not like the 3 members they used to be, or the 4 members they used to be, or 3 to 4 members they used to be, because back in the day it was Chris Renfrew, BT Gunn, Dickie Divers, and even Darkside James Scott was involved as well at one point. But it was mainly Dickie Divers, James Scott. It was mainly Dickie Divers, BT Gunn, and Chris Renfrew, like a triple threat kind of thing. But now they seem to be growing, because they've added, well, they got rid of Dickie. Dickie did what he did at Square Go and everything. Now Dickie's out the equation. In came Wolfgang to replace him, and that took place at Baromania. Go and check that out. I reviewed that as well. That was the first episode that I reviewed in my new ICW podcast series, and they got that sorted out. And now from Flawless Victory show, which features main event Mikey Whiplash versus Drew Galloway. Again, I will be reviewing that in the coming weeks. It seems that Kaylee Ray and Stevie Boy are joining them. Well, they have joined. If you see it, you can see this clip on ICW Online. Again, if you see this on YouTube, see this on Podomatic or whatever, links will be in description. Make sure you follow that. Make sure you go and check that out. You've got to check ICW out, because ICW is hot. It's hotter than a sexy lady. Yeah, I went there. Be sure to check them out. And my question now is, where's this New Age Clique thing going? Are they going to be like the NWO? They're going to bring in new people in. If so, I'm all for it, because it makes them interesting. Not that they weren't interesting to begin with, but it makes them more lethal. It makes them more impactful. And it gives them a little bit of a meaning as well. Give the New Age Clique, a new dimension and a new direction to where they want to go, or where they plan to go. Hopefully it gets booked right and doesn't get watered down. If they're making a storyline out of this, hopefully the storyline will get totally booked, and booked to the potential of it being awesome. Because if ICW do this right, this might be one of the reasons ICW eventually gets back on a network. Because the last network they were on, they got kicked off because, well, Oxfam or Watchdog or whatever the fuck they were. There were too many complaints and everything, and they kicked them out and whatever the fuck. I don't know. I think the network wanted to change them, and they didn't change. So that's why they haven't got a network. So that's why probably Mark Dallas is out there right now looking for that network. But if they do this kind of stuff, maybe what they do with the New Age Clique may convince the networks to bring them on. I mean, surely to God, there's got to be a network out there, that can put them up. I mean, you don't have to put them on during the flaming day, for Pete's sake. Put them on after 9 o'clock, a 60-minute, maybe 2-hour show after 9 o'clock. There's got to be a network out there that can put them on. Hell, put them on the BBC, for Christ's sake, Put them on the BBC. Obviously, you can't put them on Sky Sports because WWE's got that, but there's got to be some, network. Hey, why not try BT Sport? They'll give them an alternative. WWE's got ICW. WWE's got this Sky Sports. ICW's got fucking BT. I don't know. But ICW do deserve to be on a network. They need to be on a network. They've done everything else. Pay-per-views. Fuck that. Get them on pay-per-view. They've done pay-per-views. They've done... what haven't they done, to be honest with you? The only thing they haven't done is got themselves on the network, which is a shame, because they should be on the network. And hopefully before long, ICW will be on a network. Surely there's got to be some network out there that can take them. I mean, like I said, they're obviously not asking them to put on during the day. Put them on at night time, after 9 o'clock, for Pete's sake. Because I don't want them to change. The ICW fans don't want them to change, because what they're doing at the moment right now, they're an over 18s promotion that cater to over 18s. You know, they're not PG like WWE. You know, they're kicking ass. They are the modern day ECW. You know, they are the modern day ECW, and it is what it is. And I love it. You know, there's all this progress wrestling out there. I've got a show that I'm going to study and look at of progress wrestling. And you never know, I might get their on-demand service. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it. I've had people like Michael Cook say, who's been on the show before, saying it's the best. It'll be the best £7 or £8 you'll spend. I'll take his word for it. But like I said, how can I do that? You know, at this moment in time, how can I do that when ICW is so fucking hot? And it's, like I said, it's the best £3.75 I've ever spent. So there you have it, guys. I mean, go and check it out. Go and get ICW and be on the lookout for them. And if you want more information, go to the ICW YouTube page, ICW Online on YouTube. Just go onto the YouTube, type it in. Links will be in the description to that as well on YouTube and Podomatic, but just type it in, sit back, relax and enjoy. There's some clips on there from the shows that you can see on demand as well, like Jack Jester returning, Drew Galloway's epic return to ICW, you know, NAK destroying Dickie Davers, so on. Just go and check it out. ICW is where it's at. And like I say, tune in tomorrow for the new episode of ICW, my ICW series podcast, which is Blow in Your Cartridge. Yeah. And they come up with epic names as well. I mean, whoever comes up with the names for these shows, fucking love it. But with that being said, ladies and gents, I'm going to take a little quick break, rest my vocals a little bit. I'm going to shorten this quick promo, and then I'll be back after it with Raw and SmackDown main talking points. So see you in a bit. If you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, why not check out the Wrestling Matters podcast Facebook fan page at www.facebook.com/WM podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. If you're a fan of the Wrestling Matters podcast, be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters podcast Twitter page at WM podcast for news, reviews, and upcoming episodes, and you will be let know on various other topics as well in the world of professional wrestling. So if you like the Wrestling Matters podcast, be sure to follow the Wrestling Matters podcast on Twitter at WM Podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Be sure to tune in every single Tuesday now for the Wrestling Matters Podcast Extra, where I'll be hosting a podcast on one promotion and one promotion only. ICW, Insane Championship Wrestling, the hottest promotion in Scotland. Well, I'll be reviewing their shows. Oh my God! Talking ICW.
That's 13-14!
And who knows, maybe getting some guests on. So be sure to tune in to the Wrestling Matters Podcast Extra ICW podcast, Insane Championship Wrestling, every Tuesday on YouTube, Podomatic, Stitcher Radio, downloaded free at iTunes, Mixcloud, and SoundCloud. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
World, look into my eyes. When you see me on a show, when you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world. We are ICW and you're gonna know our name. Here we fucking go!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to part 2 of the Wrestling Matters podcast. Hope you're having a good day. Hope you're having a good time doing what it is you do. Now, part 2, we'll kick off with the Raw main talking points. And Raw kicked off this week with Randy Orton in the ring with Roman Reigns. One thing leads to another, and then a handicap match involving Randy Orton teaming with Roman Reigns to face the New Day. In a match born of some show opening skullduggery from Kane, the Viper and the Big Dog managed to shelf their differences long enough to keep the champs occupied. That is until the New Day channel Reigns and his old buddies to the stage, a numbers advantage. The momentum held until appropriately enough for Montreal. Orton and Reigns screwed Orton and Reigns. Accidentally, that is. When a spear intended for Kofi Kingston went wide and ended up hitting Viper Randy Orton, giving the New Day a win, really worth clapping about. Orton and Reigns, on the other hand, got it once again by the Devil's favourite demon, who placed him in the main event, one-on-one against each other. More on that later. Ryback addresses Bray Wyatt and says that Mr. Bray Wyatt has made a mistake and he will face his fear. Excuse that. Cesaro and Tyson Kidd basically squashed the Ascension. Thanks to that trip through a ladder, Dean Ambrose was never able to make good on his promise to prevent Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank cash-in. But thanks to a little dirty deeds by Kane, he may yet be the one to take the title away from the WWE's best heel wrestler and corporate champion come WWE Payback, with a spot in the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match at the Payback pay-per-view. His rematch, thanks to Kane, that he had on SmackDown with Seth Rollins, brought the crazy in convincing fashion against his one-time brother-in-arms, who was solely hampered by Kane's induct barring Dumb and Dumber J&J Security. Rollins, for his part, was largely just playing catch-up. Ambrose emptied the entirety of his deep, ever-evolving arsenal to increasing returns, except for a powerbomb into the barricade that almost earned him a count-out win. And despite a match crashing by J&J, the champion had trouble maintaining his advantage. The Lunatic Fringe, meanwhile, came back for more and more, eventually founding pay dirt with a schoolboy roll-up to send him to Payback. The Wall of Champions may be in play yet, pending on a contract signing that took place on SmackDown, of course. Rusev beats Fandango, basically squashes him, and the fall apart between him and Lana is definitely on the horizon. Stardust beats R-Truth, probably my favourite part of the match. Well, hello there, Sami Zayn. For John Cena's first US Open Challenge match in 2 Raws, he got a taste of NXT's finest when the former NXT champion answered the call, carrying the WWE Hall of Famer Bret Hart, who also dispelled Heath Slater's third crack at the title shot. Taking a break from his business with the terrifying guy down in full sail, Zayn stormed his way onto Raw for a crack at the US title. Despite a nagging shoulder injury that hampered Zayn with a handicap, the hometown hero ran roughshod over Cena for a sizable portion of the contest, unleashing a Koji clutch, a diving DDT through the ropes, and a Blue Thunder bomb that briefly turned Cena into a human pincushion. Or human punch bag. There you go. The Montreal native even kicked out the attitude adjustment, but Cena's springboard stunner, wow, it's not easy to say, puts Zayn on his heels, and in the second AA put an end to that. Naomi and Tamina attack the Bella Twins. Now, this match never got on. Whatever the Bella Twins were supposed to do, it never got going because Naomi jumped the Bella Twins from behind along with Tamina Snuka. That's right, Tamina Snuka is back, and she seems to side with her family member and gets the family business, off and rolling, with her and Naomi going up against the Bella Twins at some point. You know it's coming. King Barrett and Sheamus beat Dolph Ziggler and Neville. And on to the main event. Turns out Kane's secret plan to control Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton was to bring the entire authority to ringside with J&J Security as guest timekeepers and ring announcer, Kane himself as the ringside enforcer, and Seth Rollins on commentary. The entire main event was brawled in the shadow of the authority. And battle they did, trading blows until Kane tripped Roman Reigns after a Superman punch, ending the bout in disqualification, of course. There was no bell to toll, as the timekeeper and the rest of the authority brandstormed the ring and briefly turned the bout into a 2 versus all until Dean Ambrose joined the fray to even the odds against the corporate power. The burst of teamwork flamed out fast once it came down to 4 contenders to the title, the World Heavyweight Championship, and it became a game of one-upmanship as Reigns speared Rollins, Orton felt the necessary to get even with Reigns after what he did earlier on in the show and hit him with an RKO. Ambrose followed suit, avenging the brothers striking Viper down with dirty deeds, and then out of nowhere a sneak attack from Rollins put an end to that. What's going to happen at the Payback pay-per-view this week, this coming Sunday, guys? So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that is the end of the Monday Night Raw main points, and you know what? Let's not waste any time. We'll go straight into SmackDown's main talking points. We're going to SmackDown's main talking points. Fuck off. Would you please fuck off? Dolph Ziggler defeats King Barrett by disqualification, while the WWE Hall of Famer Jerry Lawler was unceremoniously turned away in his interview with King Barrett. The winner of the 2015 King of the Ring would not have such an easy time battling Dolph Ziggler. But when Sheamus' involvement brought the contest to a premature conclusion and Neville emerged to even the odds, an impromptu tag team match was set up. In the height of the impromptu tag team showdown, Neville and Dolph Ziggler, beat King Barrett and Sheamus and got their revenge for what happened on Raw. Seconds later, in a livid monarch, whatever that is, I don't know, it's spelled M-O-N-A-R-C-H, took issue with the man that gravity forgot to show off, utilized the distraction and rolled him up for the win. And they, like I said, they got their revenge on what happened on Raw. Luke Harper squashes Fandango. Rusev promises that he will crush the United States Heavyweight Champion at Payback, and also makes humiliation of Lana. The New Day beat Ryback, Cesaro, and Tyson Kidd. Unfortunately, New Day still suck. Naomi beats a rare appearance from Emma. Lucha Dragons beat Los Matadores. And then the, somewhat main event, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins used the WWE Payback Fatal 4-Way match contract signing to turn his 3 number 1 contenders against each other. In fact, when order broke down, an accidentally collision between Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns eventually led to an RKO to the Lunatic Fringe by Randy Orton. The Big Dog followed with a Superman punch that knocked out the Viper, and then Seth Rollins sneak hit in with a cheap shot to prove that he is one step ahead of his adversaries. And also, ladies and gentlemen, it was Dean Ambrose that stood tall in the Royal Rumble melee, the Monday Night Raw melee. What is wrong with me today? As well. So I got that a little confused with this one, but you know where I'm going with it. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I will end it there. And after this, after this quick break, I will talk NXT and TNA. So stay tuned. For new episodes of the Wrestling Matters podcast, as well as other great professional wrestling related content, be sure to check out the Wrestling Matters channel on YouTube at www.youtube.com/AJW Wrestling Matters. You'll get weekly episodes of the podcast, and you'll get other great wrestling content as well. Be sure to check it out, subscribe, like, and do all that good stuff. The Wrestling Matters channel, where wrestling matters, on YouTube.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shugs.
Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestling Matters podcast. Now, it's time to talk about NXT. Now, NXT kicked off this week with Emma, the queen of Pied Piper of Flowing Bubbles, and Charlotte. Emma continued to play mind games with Bayley this week, wearing the Cheery Divas trademark headbands and t-shirt for a bout with Charlotte. The former NXT Women's Champion, however, was in no mood for games, taking Emma to the mat. The ruthless Australian yanked Charlotte off the ropes and targeted her left leg, wrenching it around the ring ropes. Despite the damage being done to her leg, Charlotte battled back and won the match with natural selection. And trust me, Emma bowed down to the Queen. Emma's night did not end there though. Bayley entered the ring, seemingly ready to forgive her, offering Emma a hug. However, with a sly grin to the NXT universe, Bayley revealed that Emma had walked right into a Bayley to belly suplex. Wow, it's not easy to say. Charlotte did her best to restrain Bayley, but there was no stopping the furious Bayley from taking back her property. The next match, however, was a squash match, although Bull Dempsey did pull up a fight. Rhino beating Bull Dempsey. The two of NXT's hard-hitting forces collided this week as Rhino locked horns with Bull Dempsey. Unfortunately for Dempsey, the man beast is on the warpath. There was no stopping Rhino as he hurled the 300-pounder across the ring with a suplex, belly-to-belly suplex, and then flattened him with a gore. After the bout, Rhino called out Baron Corbin for a showdown at TakeOver. Unstoppable, the NXT universe seemed to be on board with the idea, but will the Lone Wolf accept the Man-Beast's challenge? Enzo Amore and Colin Cassidy were scheduled to take on the roughneck duo of Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder on NXT, but the brash pair never entered the arena, therefore the ring, when their music hit. The NXT universe found out why when the cameras caught the NXT champions Blake and Murphy viciously attacking Enzo and Big Cass, leaving the number one contenders unable to compete. Now, NXT general manager William Regal looked delighted to be putting pen to paper on the latest NXT Women's Championship match, with champion Sasha Banks defending against top contender Becky Lynch at TakeOver. Lynch was eager to sign, explaining her lifelong dreams of coming to the WWE, while the boss stamped her signature onto the contract, throwing it in Lynch's face. Banks then slammed Becky into the table before stamping on Lynch's head and holding her title triumphantly. However, Boss Triumph quickly turned sour as Lynch caught an attempted slap and turned it into a deep armbar that Banks tapped out immediately. Regal and the NXT officials had to pull Lynch off her former ally, but Becky made it clear she won't be a pushover at TakeOver. In the main event of the evening saw Prince Pretty, Tyler Breeze, one-on-one with Hideo Itami. Looking to scout the competition ahead of the number one contenders triple threat match at TakeOver Unstoppable, Finn Balor pulled up a chair at ringside to get a closer view of Hideo and Tyler Breeze's rekindled their rivalry. Though both competitors traded control, the match turned into a game of cat and mouse. Breeze eventually scrambled to ringside to avoid Hideo's lightning fast strikes. Hideo Itami tried to clock Breeze with a big boot in the arena floor, but Prince Pretty moved out the way, leaving Hideo's foot connected with Balor's jaw and sending him through the guardrail. Breeze missed with the beauty shot. Back in the ring, Hideo Itami ducked, and Hideo hit him with a shotgun kick to get the victory. Breeze attacked Hideo from behind after the bout until Balor threw him off. The emerging superstar then went to check on his friend until Pretty kicked him with supermodel kick and then clobbered Hideo with the beauty shot, giving their opponents a painful preview of what could take place at Take. Good show this week. I saw it. Can't wait till next week. I can't wait to take over in 2 weeks. It should be interesting. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take another quick break, and then after this, I will be back with TNA and Ring of Honor. So stay tuned. If you like the Wrestling Matters Podcast, why not check out the Wrestling Matters Podcast Facebook fan page at www.facebook.com/WM Podcast. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wrestling Matters Podcast, and without further ado, we'll get right into it, not wasting any time. It's TNA main points, so let's do it. TNA kicked off this week with Eric Young. He demands to know the identity of the special guest referee in his match with Kurt Angle, and much to everybody's surprise, including me, Bully Ray shows up. Bully Ray surprises the Impact Zone by declaring himself to be the man for the job. Now, I don't know where the hell that's going. I mean, this guy comes in and says that his home was WWE. I don't know, what's going to happen with that, but we'll have to wait and see. Is he back with TNA? Is he back will he go to WWE? There's rumours of him going to NXT. I guess we'll have to wait and see. Will we see the Team 3D, Dudley Boys, whatever they're called, reunion? Guess we'll have to wait and see. Mr. Anderson and EC3 went head-to-head in a Falls Count Anywhere match. And it ended with an enraged Anderson drives EC3 into the pile of chairs with the Green Bay plunge. He connects with a second Green Bay plunge. Tyrus pays dividends in the wake by destroying Anderson and allowing EC3 to pick up the win. I wasn't really bothered about that match myself. MVP leads the beatdown climb to the ring. The BDC wear masks honouring their absent fourth member, Homicide. MVP Homicide was injured earlier this week and must undergo surgery. He assigns the blame on Drew Galloway and the Rising. Galloway leads his crew toward the ring. Galloway says the streets ain't his playground, but in the ring is. MVP says, I don't give a damn about pro wrestling. All I care about is the money, the prestige, and the power that comes with being a champion. MVP says the lifestyle that becomes with being a champion is more important than wrestling fans or people cheering his name. He blames Galloway for not being the current world champion. He instructs Galloway to collect his beat down so that he can destroy the Rising, so to speak. The Rising storms to the ring to collide with the BDC. A single match is made. MVP commands the early advantage against Galloway. His relentless assault includes a massive arm breaker in the center of the ring. Eventually, Galloway counters an Irish whip from MVP with a kick to the face. MVP immediately returns with a big boot, but Galloway returns with a huge kick to his face. MVP rolls from the ring when Galloway tries to pursue. MVP trips him, bouncing the bat of Galloway's head on the apron. MVP swings Galloway into the guardrail. Galloway grips his shoulder and MVP shoves it hard into the ring post. MVP rolls the lead of the Rising back into the ring and makes a series of near falls. Out of nowhere, Galloway ends up connecting with the Future Shock and gets the win. Post-match though, Eric Young assaults the Rising with a chair. The BDC joins Eric Young in the beatdown, leaving the BDC standing tall. Where does Eric Young fit in that? Now, I recommend you watch this on YouTube. It is James Storm introduces Mickey James from the ring, and and then Magnus comes out, and then all hell breaks loose. I don't know what the hell. I think James Storm was playing mind games with Magnus, and then he mentions his son and says uncle this, uncle that. Says this, uncle that. Says uncle this, uncle that. And all, and he goes. What happened at the end of the video? Go and watch this on the YouTube page. I'll put the link in the description. You have to see this to believe it. The guitar shot heard round the world because Mr. Storm goes one too far, mentioning Magnus's soon-to-be baby boy, and let's say Magnus didn't take too kindly to it, walked down to the ring and proceeded to whack James Storm clean with his guitar. Something that Jeff Jarrett would probably be proud of. Good grief. Now, a 3-on-2 handicap match saw the Dollhouse going against Gail Kim and Awesome Kong. Why did I say Eric Young for that nearly? And that ended with Kong tears down the Dollhouse. She attempts an implant buster to tie her in, but Jade and Marty make the save. Gail tags herself in and connects with a missile dropkick and gets a near fall. Marty interrupts the count and Kong delivers the implant buster to Jade. Gail Kim sets up Marty for the defeat, but Tyrion rolls her up and grabs the win and the tights in the process. Dollhouse, that's a who cares for me. Another thing, The Hardy Boys, Jeff's injured, and the Hardy Boys relinquish the World Tag Team titles, which leads to the returning Eddie Edwards and Davey Richards setting up a match with Dirty Heels, Austin Aries and Bobby Roode, going for the tag team titles, and it will be a best of 5 series. So whoever wins the best of 5 series will win the tag team titles. So Velvet Sky returned. Velvet Sky makes a surprise return through the audience. Angelina says Velvet's new look is interesting and daring. She says Velvet seems mad, and then she apologizes for not getting in touch with Velvet. Because she was too busy having a life, she claims Velvet has returned to once again steal her spotlight. Velvet spears Angelina before choking her with her own hair. A group of officials separate the former beautiful people, and the Crown chants to let them fight. Angelina's a spineless bitch, and Velvet gives her what she deserves. Now, the World Heavyweight Championship match between Bobby Roode and Kurt Angle, between Eric Young and Kurt Angle, saw special guest referee Bully Ray introduced. First, Bully Ray hoists the TNA World Heavyweight Championship in the air just before the opening bell sounds. Kurt Angle takes down Eric Young with an arm drag, but the challenger battles back to stomp by stomping Angle's head in the mat. Angle counters Eric Young's charge with a belly-to-belly suplex. Eric Young is quickly back to his feet and in the champion's face with a series of rights and back elbows. Angle and Young trade blows, and ultimately Angle connects with a suplex from the top rope. Young rolls out of the ring, and when Angle gives chase, Young connects with a clothesline. The BDC enters the impact zone to stand atop the ramp. Eric Young connects with a neck breaker as the BDC moves closer to the ring. Young targets Angle's neck, locking him into a headlock. Angle fights out of the hole, and then he and Young trade a huge series of rights. Angle ends the exchange with a back body drop and 5 German suplexes. Eric Young rolls through Kurt Angle's angle slam into a pin attempt. Angle counters the pin with an ankle lock. Young again rolls through, sending Angle to the BDC territory. Young low blows Bully Ray, and the BDC attack. Chris Melendez and the Rising race to the impact zone to fend off the BDC. Eric Young attempts a pile driver to Bully Ray, but Bully counters, sending Young into the angle slam. Eric Young somehow kicks out at 2 and turns Angle's ankle lock attempt into a power driver. Angle surprisingly kicks out at 2 and locking the final ankle lock that forces Eric Young to tap and Angle to retain. So that is the end of the TNA main points and review. Hope you enjoyed that, and I'll be back after this with Ring of Honor, so stay tuned.
Be sure to listen to the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast.
What?
Every Sunday with Kenny Killer and the Galdem Sugar Shubs.
Yes!
With all the news, views, and laughter that you want.
They like jet airplanes. Woo! They like long limousines.
Every Sunday, the Sunday Segway Wrestling Podcast on Podomatic, iTunes, and YouTube.
So why don't you choke on that, slap nut?
Be sure to tune in every single Tuesday now for the Wrestling Madness Podcast Extra, where I'll be hosting a podcast on one promotion and one promotion only. ICW, Insane Championship Wrestling, the hottest promotion in Scotland, where I'll be reviewing their shows. Oh my God! Talking ICW.
That's 13-14!
And who knows, maybe getting some guests on. So be sure to tune in to the Wrestling Matters Podcast Extra ICW podcast. Insane Championship Wrestling every Tuesday on YouTube, Podomatic, Stitcher Radio, downloaded free at iTunes, Mixcloud, and SoundCloud. Wrestling Matters, wrestling fans.
World, look into my eyes. When you see me on a show, when you see these fans, you know you've got the best in the damn world. We are ICW and you're gonna know our name. Here we fucking go!
Welcome back to the final part of the Wrestling Matters podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you've enjoyed the show. Now, before I get to Ring of Honor, I'll do some quick promotions. PCW is hosting the show in the 5th of June, and it's headlined by Lionheart, Adrian McCallum, and AJ Styles. That's right. The match that last year broke the neck of one Adrian McCallum, almost ending his career. Well, it's going to happen again on the 5th of June. For more information, go to PCW's websites and YouTube pages, which I will leave in the description. If you want, Google it. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. For more information on EPW wrestling in your area, be sure to check that out now at EPW Wrestling 1 on Twitter, epwwrestling.co.uk, and EPW American Wrestling on Facebook. Be sure to check that out as well. And also, ladies and gentlemen, TWT, Total Wrestling T-Side, is coming to Middlesbrough at the back end of October. Like I've said many times, be sure to check them out. Find them on Twitter at theofficialTWT and facebook.com/TWT Wrestling on Facebook. They're coming to Middlesbrough in the back end of October, which is Halloween night. I don't know where they're going to be. I haven't spoke to them yet. I haven't got in contact with them yet. They're probably still in the process of building the brand and building the shows and whatnot. Be sure to check them out. Find them. Do what you got to do. And just look out for them in that. And when I get the information that is needed, I will bring it to you on this very program, on this very podcast even, as well. Also, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to check it out. 4th episode, as this is going out on Monday, 4th episode of the ICW podcast series. It is Blow Your Cartridge, featuring it was the night before Barromania, featuring a TNA superstar. If you want to know what that is, I suggest you tune in next week, and I'll tell you. Tune in Tuesday, and then I'll tell you when it happens. Sorry, it's a lot to get through here, guys, so bear with me. We'll get there eventually. Now we'll go to Ring of Honor, and Ring of Honor this week kicked off with the Killer Elite Squad on behalf of Michael Elgin going toe-to-toe with War Machine. After a handshake, the fight breaks out, both teams going at it. Shotgun knees, then a Bronco Buster, War Machine in control. The War Machine team is Rowan Hansen, and the Killer Elite is Lance Archer, who used to be in TNA, for the many of you guys know as Lance Hoyt, and good old Davey Boy Smith Jr. himself. Now many of you people know him as Bulldog's son, and member of the Hart Dynasty in WWE. I wish he'd come back to WWE, but anyway. Killer Elite in control, great double team wrestling. Both teams even on power, but Lance Archer takes Hansen's head off. Gut wrench suplex by Davey Boy Smith, gets a near fall, and then he switches it into an armbar. Raw Machine in a lot of trouble as ROH goes to break. Back from the break, and War Machine are mounting a fight back, but Lance ends that. Double team by Killer Elite, gets a near fall. Davey Boy Smith in control of Hansen, grounding him on the mat. Lance and Smith isolating Hansen. Lance stops a tag, and Killer Elite back in control. Stiff kicks from Smith, but Hansen creates enough space to get the tag. Rowe comes in, back and forth, hard-hitting match with Lance in the center of the ring, and then hits a suplex on him. Shotgun knees by Rowe and Smith. War Machine hits a double chokeslam on Lance, goes for the fall out, hits it, and then goes for the win, but Elgin pulls the referee out, and then Hansen dabs on Elgin. Killer Elite hit a heart attack, get a near fall. All four men in the ring. Ref loses control. Lance hits a black hole slam. Rowe hits a slam of his own. Then Smith hits a suplex. Then Smith hits a tiger suplex on Rowe. Punches Smith. Then fights with Lance. Lance hits a choke slam, and Turner, the dumb referee that he is, throws it out. All hell breaks loose, Elgin even gets in there and starts fighting, and the referees are having a field day with the security trying to stop this fight. And then Ring of Honor goes to a commercial break. Back from the break, they show what happened the week before with the KRD and Daniels, Kazarian, and Saban. It was revealed who were the KRD. Now we go on to the World Television Championship match main event, which saw Tommaso Ciampa against Jay Lethal. Lethal on the back pedal as ROH goes to a break. What a way to go, you're just about to start a match and you go to a break early. Sick. ROH back from the break. Lethal's suplex did not work, which he tried to suplex Ciampa, but as Ciampa landed, he got right back up again, and then that almost cost Lethal the match because Ciampa got him in a roll-up and hits a near fall. Ciampa taking the fight to Lethal, and then Dijak ends up saving Lethal. Ciampa wearing Lethal out. Distraction, Lethal dives on Ciampa 3 times, and the third one sends Ciampa in the crowd, which was great. The TV champion in control, Lethal taking it to Ciampa as ROH goes to break. Back from the break, Ciampa still in control and hits a hard chop on Ciampa. Lethal in control of Ciampa, grounding him and stomping on his face, gets a near fall in that. Then Lethal grounding him on the mat again. Ciampa fights back but makes a mistake, and Lethal takes advantage of ROH as ROH goes to a commercial break. Back from the break, Ciampa mounts a fight back. Knee strike to the floor, Ciampa goes for a dive. Truth on the apron, Ciampa outsmarts Truth, then takes the fight to Lethal on the outside, hits a running knee, and then a running knee again. Ciampa on the fight back, the TV champion is rocking. Lethal hits a top rope suplex, Ciampa gets a near fall. Back and forth, hard-hitting match, so even in my view, because you never know which one gets the control. It was even on control in my view. Well, that was just my opinion anyway, from what I saw. Ciampa hits an awesome move and gets a near fall, which was a version of the mic check, and then he lifts the legs onto the top rope and then just drives down with him on that. It's so good. Like I say, gets a near fall. Hard hitting stuff, both men counter for counter, and then Jay manages to hit a neck breaker to get a near fall. A lethal combo. Ciampa manages to get a crossface in amongst that, and then goes for the Rings of Saturn, but escapes. Ciampa in a lot of trouble as Ring of Honor goes to a break. Back from the break, Ciampa suplexes Jay Lethal back in. Truth grabs a leg. Ciampa kicks out. Ciampa goes for Truth. Dijak staring Ciampa down. Ciampa gets in the face of Dijak, and then Tommaso catches Lethal dive, hits a version of White Noise on the outside, then throws him back in the wing, goes for the cover and gets a near fall. Ciampa hits White Noise from the top rope, goes for a cover, gets a near fall. Truth pulled the referee out though, and Dijak comes in the ring, and Ciampa gets kicked in the face. Ref is on the outside. Lethal gets a near fall out of that. Ciampa counters Lethal, lands on the apron, hits Dijak with a cannonball move, then takes a kick in the face as he's coming back in the ring from Lethal. Ciampa found a way to hit a clothesline, then hits the top rope elbow and gets a near fall. Dijak comes in the ring, basically comes in, and then Ciampa throws him back out. Ref throws both Truth and Dijak out. Lethal then hits a low blow as the ref is being distracted trying to get Dijak and the Truth out. And then after the low blow, he hits Lethal Injection and gets the win, and retains the Ring of Honor World Television Championship. After the match, the referee, Mr. Tommaso Ciampa, was not happy, and then proceeds to shake the hand of the referee, kick him between the legs, get him in the corner, and hits 5 knees into the poor man's jaw. Question is that the end of Ciampa in Ring of Honor? We'll have to wait and see. And tune in next, and we'll find out next week, because the matches next week on Ring of Honor, 2 matches have been signed. It'll be Chris Sabin making his debut against Kyle O'Reilly, and a epic 6-man tag main event, which sees Briscoes and Roderick Strong against ACH, Matt Sydal, and Alberto El Patron. So that'll be excellent. And by the way, 4.5 out of the show. I thought it was really, really good. Great wrestling and a great fight in the process. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Anthony Walker, the HD at the end of the day. Tune in next week for the guests. That's right, Josh Dillon and Pepper Brooks will be joining us next week from the alternate angle If that's wrong, I apologise, but that's a mouthful, I know that. Podcast, you'll know about it next week. Tune in next week. We will get their Payback and Raw view as well, Payback predictions, and we'll talk Raw. That is a mouthful to say, I'm not going to tell you, but anyway, my name is the HD, the A to the D, Anthony Walker. Thank you so much for listening, guys. Like I say, tune in next week, tune in tomorrow, as this is going out, tune in tomorrow for the fourth installment of the ICW podcast. But until then, my name is Anthony Walker. Peace out.